3.
Hello friends, we are here at Montreal at the venue of the 15th Conference of Parties of the United Nations Convention on Biological Diversity, which is happening from 3rd to 19th of December 2020. During this conference, delegates from 196 countries, including India, are participating. Apart from the government delegates, a lot of NGOs and also UN agencies, friends from the media, friends from the corporate sector, a large number of students are also here to deliberate on various aspects of biodiversity conservation, the achievements that the world has seen till date, and the way forward. The hallmark of this convention would be the adoption of the post-2020 Global Biodiversity Framework, which incorporates 4 larger goals to be achieved by the world community by 2050 and 22 targets that is to be adopted during this conference, and these targets are to be achieved by 2030. India is also a member of the High Ambition Coalition, which aspires to cover 30% of the land and sea under conservation. We will now see the various activities that are going on at the venue of this conference. So these are the countries which are participating, and there you see the national flag of India. So India is one of the 96 countries of the convention, and India in fact hosted this conference in 2012, and the 15th conference is now hosted by China. So this is a Chinese pavilion which you are seeing here, and since there was a COVID pandemic, part of the conference was in Kunming, and the remaining version 2 of the conference is happening in Montreal, Canada, with the support of the government of Canada. So during this conference, a large number of experts who are committed themselves to conservation have assembled here to deliberate on various aspects of biodiversity conservation. So during this conference, a variety of deliberations are going on how to achieve biodiversity conservation, which is very critical to mitigate climate change. In fact, last month, that is November 2022, we had the climate change conference in Egypt, Sharm el-Sheikh. Climate change conference happens once in a year, whereas the biodiversity convention conference happens once in 2 years. So here you see some activity going on how business and can help finance biodiversity conservation. A large number of academia and research institutions are also participating in this conference. Negotiations keep happening on different targets that are to be adopted and achieved by the countries. The decisions are taken at the plenary level, but if there is no consensus, then the plenary refers right to the working group, and the working group refers it to the contact group. And again, if there is no consensus, the contact group refers the text to the Friends of Chair group. There you see a lot of activity going on. These are some students from India who are part of the Global Youth Biodiversity Network. Would you like to tell something? From where are you coming? And
Yes, so I'm coming from India and I'm coming from Chennai,
okay,
from Tamil Nadu, and I'm part of the Global Youth Biodiversity Network as a youth delegate,
okay,
attending COP15 and the negotiations and organizing side events.
okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So a big group of students have come from different parts of the world who have also committed themselves for the cause of conservation. That's a very encouraging sign. In fact, the UN Convention on Biological Diversity was created in 1992 after the Rio Summit, popularly referred to as the Earth Summit. It is one of the 3 conventions which was established by the United Nations. There you see a stall exclusively for women. Here a lot of deliberations happen on empowering women, because women play a major role in biodiversity conservation. In fact, the Biological Diversity Act of India has empowered women by making it mandatory to include women representatives in the biodiversity management committees of the local bodies. This is a stall exclusively for the indigenous people and local communities, IPLCs, who are the major conservers of biological resources. We move to the next arena. So these are some of the countries which are participating in this conference.
My speciality. Yeah. And then after that.
And some meeting is going on
in the network of solutions that will need to be developed. So we have asked our speakers to specifically think about conditions of success for scaling up or replication of solutions. And
there are a lot of topics that are deliberated here. Even I was speaking on. Hi. Would you like to speak something?
Sure. Who am I speaking to?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Callie Broadus. I'm from the US and I run an organization called Reserva the Youth Land Trust, and we connect young people from all around the world to bridge the gap between youth activism for the environment and real on-the-ground conservation. We created the world's first entirely youth-funded nature reserve in Ecuador, which is called Dracula Youth Reserve, and I invite you to check it out.
Thank you very much.
YLT.
Thank you very much. In fact, they have collected 1 million letters from the students of different parts of the world, including India, supporting nature conservation and biodiversity conservation. This is a stall of the Global Environmental Facility, which is a funding mechanism to conserve nature. There are 184 members of this body, Global Environmental Facility. Apart from the CBD COP, we also have the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change and the UN Convention to Combat Desertification. So all these 3 conventions were created after the Earth Summit in 1992. While the CBD headquarters is located in Montreal, Canada, the Climate Change Convention and the Convention to Combat Desertification is based in Bonn, Germany. Hi.
They're just filming a little time lapse.
Okay.
Thank you though.
So this is a model that has been established by the convention to show how nature is negatively impacted with the loss of biodiversity. So we just move around here, what is happening. Since there are a lot of negotiations happening, people join together and to give their views in one voice. So there is a lot of lobbying also happening to garner support for their views. Here you see a pavilion of the Kew Botanical Gardens, which is a extraordinary herbarium located in London. This is African Development Bank. There are a lot of banks that are participating in this conference. In fact, countries from Africa are very actively participating because they have a lot of stakes in biodiversity conservation. Many a times they all speak in one voice. Similarly, the Latin American countries have grouped themselves under the banner of GRULAC, Group of Latin American Countries, and they express their views in one voice. So this is a stall of the United Nations Environmental Program. In fact, the UNEP was created after the Stockholm Conference in 1972, and the Convention on Biological Diversity is part of the UNEP. Madagascar, Saudi Arabia. A stall for the post-2020 biodiversity framework. In fact, this is going to be a major outcome of this conference. 22 targets are being deliberated, and once adopted, this would be the foundation for biodiversity conservation across the world. There you see Botswana and Madagascar. Hi. Madagascar is geologically very significant because I think it's about 160 million years ago, it got drifted away from the African continent. There you see Turkey. In fact, Istanbul, the capital of Turkey, is going to host the next COP. Hi. Here you have lot of yeah. Thank you. So, Istanbul is going to host the next COP. Am I correct?
Is Antalya. Like we will
In
host
Turkey. Yeah, in
Antalya,
Turkey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Turkey.
Thank you. The targets proposed for the post-2020 biodiversity framework cover almost all the ecosystems, the aquatic ecosystems and the terrestrial ecosystems, and within the terrestrial ecosystems, agriculture ecosystems, forestry, wildlife are all covered, and targets are fixed for different components of ecosystem and how to move forward to protect our biodiversity, how to reduce harmful chemicals that are applied in the agricultural ecosystems, how to check the introduction of invasive alien species. This is a pavilion of the IUCN. It's a very renowned organization which is involved in conservation activities. COMIFAC, Central African Forest Commission. The Ministry of Environment, Japan. Hi, hi. Would you like to say anything? Would you like to say anything about the activities of Japan? Yeah.
Hello.
Hi, okay.
Japanese. We are Japanese Ministry of Environment.
Okay. You are representing the Ministry of Environment and Forestry. Japan is very, very vocal in all your deliberations, in all the deliberations. Yeah. This is the GBIF, Global Biodiversity Information Facility, which has compiled all the biodiversity available in the world. And this organization is based in Copenhagen, Denmark. There you have the Quebec Center for Biodiversity Science. Montreal is located in Quebec province. It's a French-speaking territory. There you have some activities of Thailand and biodiversity conservation is very crucial to mitigate climate change. While there is a lot of attention for the climate change conference, climate change mitigation requires biodiversity conservation. And that is why the world community has assembled here to deliberate on various issues pertaining to biodiversity conservation. We will see what is happening outside the area. Well, as we speak, Montreal, there is a heavy snowfall. Right from the morning, it's snowing heavily. And snowstorm is predicted during the day. It's heavy snow around. Even walking and driving is very, very difficult on this type of roads. While we are speaking about biodiversity conservation, India's achievement in this sector is remarkable. Ever since India became a party to this conference, to this convention, India enacted the Biological Diversity Act. And India also became a member of the Nagoya Protocol and the Cartagena Protocol. Nagoya Protocol deals with benefit sharing with the communities. So some deliberation is going on here.
Improving actions and efforts with improving implementation. I would also suggest adding an additional paragraph 1bis, and I take that this paragraph was presented by Brazil at the peer review process of the annexes. But since we're no longer discussing an annex on the global stock take, there are some comments there that we'd like to reflect in the draft decision. So the paragraph would read as decides that the enhanced multidimensional approach to planning.
So the text of this documents get corrected during the sessions here for final adoption by the plenary.
So there you see it's a heavy snow. Montreal. And the Cartagena Protocol deals with biosafety aspects of biological resources, whereas the Nagoya Protocol pertains to access and benefit sharing mechanism. Oh, this is a very fantastic view to see the snowfall. It's just white everywhere. In fact, the roads are not seen at all. It's a beautiful park till few days back, but now it's completely covered by snow. The major achievement of India is the constitution of about 277,000 biodiversity management committees in all the local bodies of our country, who have been vested with the powers to safeguard the biological resources in their villages. India has also established about 36 biodiversity heritage sites, areas outside the forest which are rich in biodiversity. And we have also set up about 17 repositories to ensure that biological resources which are extracted in large quantities do not get extinct. India is moving forward to propagate the concept of OECMs, the other effective area-based conservation measures, to bring in the public and private sector who have large chunks of land under their control and who have been conserving these areas by planting trees. India also aspires to bring about 30% of their land and oceans under conservation network, and has joined the High Ambition Coalition. As we speak, there are about 117 countries who have associated themselves with this High Ambition Coalition, with the larger objective to protect 30% of the land and 30% of the sea under conservation. India is represented at this conference by a team of negotiators, and the delegation is headed by the Honorable Union Minister for Environment, Forest and Climate Change. Who would be presenting India's report on biodiversity conservation in the coming days. The achievements of India would also be presented in different forums during the conference. And the conference also gives an opportunity to share the experiences of different countries in the area of conservation, so that can be replicated in other countries. So if the post-2020 global biodiversity framework is adopted at this convention, this would be an equivalent movement of the Paris Agreement for the climate change convention. This would be a very landmark decision that would go a long way for biodiversity conservation in India and other parts of the world. We will just come to our national flag, salute the national flag, and thank you for watching this video. Jai Hind.